Hello everybody, welcome back to Papa's Saw Shop. I'm Papa. Today, I've got a treat for you. I got this beauty right here. I don't know if you can tell what this is by looking at it. Oh, that gives away right there a little orange button. This is a 500i. And I've had a few of these come into the shop. This one is the most drastic. But so I've had a lot of. I'll get to that in a minute here. What this one's in for. But I've had a few people come in and ask me, what do you think of the 500i? Is it all as cracked as it could be and everything? And like always, I give my 2 cents into the matter. So here's what I think about the 500i. It's a dream to start. And for as big as it is, and the power to weight ratio, it's relatively light for what it is. Got plenty of power, so nothing there. The fuel injection, that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm kind of old school, so I'm tempted to say it's kind of a fad. We'll see how it goes. But I said that when the internet came out too. So, we'll see how it goes. So, that's kind of the good stuff. You know me, I'm always going to tell you the bad stuff. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to start with the little stuff first. Steel has not, either they've not figured this out or they just don't care. I don't know what it is. They're still using plastic for handle mounts. This is a big saw expected to do big work, and you got this solid steel bar. Well, it's not solid, it's hollow, but it's a steel bar. Comes around here and it attaches to this piece of plastic here, which then screws into plastic with what I would say is some kind of a lightweight aluminum-ish screw. So I don't like that at all. That seems to be, there's a bunch of weak spots on this saw. So as I understand it, I don't think this is meant to be a replacement of the 660 because you got the 661. But it seems to me like this is supposed to be right up there with that caliber. It's not. Okay. And the reason is not the lack of power, but with all the other ones that I've seen so far, the 880s, the 881s, the 660s, the 661s. If you're talking about a big saw that's intended to cut some big wood, and I mean they got these big old dogs on here, so I assume that's what it's intended for. You're going to be buying some parts. It's just not built to be too rough on it. And when I say rough on it, I mean handle this saw with care. Because for one, the amount that this thing costs to buy this guy is insane. So I mean, like I say, to operate it is a dream. I mean, these things are just. These are, you're not going to find another saw out there that operates as smooth as the 500i. You're just not going to find it. I mean, the fuel injection and all that, it is a smooth operator. I mean, it just, if you got a good sharp chain, it's lightweight. It's pretty user friendly in that way. But I think, my personal opinion, I think this is one of those saws that you don't drag it out in the woods with you. That's what your 660 and your 661's for. That's not what this guy's for. This one here, if you buy one of these, do yourself a favor and get yourself a carrying case to put in it, and then make sure you got some underneath of it to, this is, it's a forest princess. That's what I'd call it. It'll do the work, but she's pretty and she needs to be taken care of a little more than what your other saws. So let's get into it. So first of all, let's just say right from the start, you buy yourself one of these guys, you get yourself a carrying case right off the bat. I don't care what it's going to cost you. Get one, because you might hurt this thing while you're using it. The odds are pretty good that you're going to hurt it even worse when you're not using it. Okay, because of the weak spots. If it gets tumbled over, a small stick falls on it, or you trip over it, things happen. Whatever. Things happen in the woods. I've been out there, I know. You lay your saw down, you walk over, and oh shit, you trip over. I've never done that. I'd like to say I never did it, but anyway. So you got that weak spot right there. That's a biggie, because it supports everything over here, including, I'm gonna get up here, including the AV mount, the anti-vibration mount. They have reinforced this anti-vibration mount. I kind of like how they've done that a little bit, and they got this little guy here. I don't really know what this little catch is here. I would say maybe it's to hold your chainsaw tool. I mean, that would be a good addition to a steel chainsaw, is somewhere to hold your tool. I've heard that quite a bit. If you can hold that chainsaw tool somewhere. So I don't know. Maybe leave it down in the comments and let me know what that little guy right there is for. But I've always said these bigger saws need something to protect this right here. That seems like that's a good idea right there. Everything else down here, no, I disagree. I sucked at it. I think they could have done a little better on this reinforcement on here. This handle right here, the under handle of this, is really no better than an aftermarket. This one's had very light use. You can't really tell it from the dirt on it. I'm going to get into what happened to this, which is another weak spot of these. But this already has a dent down here, and I don't believe that's from using it. Probably just got set down, because this is aluminum, of course. Let's keep it all lightweight. But it feels a little bit heavier here, and it feels a little lighter over here. So I don't know what the thinking was behind that. But yeah, this I deal in aftermarket, and I deal with with OEM. I'm telling you right now, this handle right here is no different than an aftermarket handle. It's exactly the same, and that's nothing to brag about. All right, so here's my biggest pet peeve with these guys right here. And I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to enlighten you here in just about a minute. Okay. You ready? All right, well, let's have it, Papa. This right here. Now I want you to look at how this is built. Now here's your power head right here. This is what's doing all the work. And here's the fuel tank right here. And here's what you're holding on to. Okay. Now, if you're cutting into wood, does your saw ever do this as you're cutting into wood? Of course it does. All right. Where's that tension going to end up? Right here. All right. Now it should support that, right? It should. But if this saw falls down right there, guess what? You snap this off right here. I've seen that a bunch of times. And once this snaps off, I don't Pardon me if you can't see me, by the way. I got you guys hidden under a bench here. So I got a split level bench, and you're kind of underneath the first level of bench here. That's why I disappeared from the camera. As far as I know, I'm the only shop that's come up with a way of welding this portion right here and redoing this. And I'll tell you what, it is not an easy feat. Basically, I go in, I take the flywheel off, and I go in and I cut this right down here. And I kind of got the idea with my shoulder surgery. That's basically what they do with the shoulder surgery. It's a big knuckle right here at the top of your shoulder. And when it fails, they go down, they cut it off, and they stick a fake piece down inside there that resembles this. It's kind of the same, I use kind of the same thinking with here. I cut this off down here, and then I get a piece of steel that goes down in here, and then that anchors down in here, and then I just shape that steel, fabricate that so that it doesn't look exactly like this, but it's pretty doggone close. And then it just holds your AV mount and holds everything back in there, and this is sturdier. But my point is that if there's any shock to this part, if this drops on the ground, if it doesn't drop flat, right there is the weakest spot right here, and this will snap. I couldn't say how many 500 eyes I've seen in the shop, but I have fixed 3 of these so far that have had this same thing, and they crack right on the back side of it, and once they crack, it's over. The sad part of it is that this is the saw. I mean, it'd be different if it cracked back here. That's the tank. I mean, the tank's expensive enough, but this is the saw right here. So I mean, when you start breaking this off, that's the case. So anyway, let me get to the last and the biggest failure in these things, and it's not even like a pros and cons kind of thing. This is just a failure in design and everything. And I see people talk about this all the time. This is the air filter, where the air filter goes up on this, and this guy leaks. When it's brand new, there's no problem at all. The problem is this little guy right here is made out of plastic, and that's a problem, because when you put the cover on here, which has a little metal clip in there, if you take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on, pretty soon you start wearing that plastic out. It don't take long to wear that plastic out. I'm telling you, friends and neighbors, it doesn't take long at all. I mean, we're talking, if you're using this thing often, like professionally, you'll wear this thing out less than a month, and it's going to start leaking. Once it starts leaking, and it starts getting a little bit of dust and whatnot in there, and the airflow changes, you got a little, let me show you this. You got this, you see that little computer board right down in there? All right, well, that guy right there is navigating pretty much how the saw runs. It goes in there, that wiring goes in, and it does all of what it does, okay? We'll get into that sometime, but not today. So once you start getting foreign particles in there, that's bad enough. But when you start getting air escaping in there, then the computer has a hard time adjusting because now you're getting air through here and through here, and it throws things off, and you'd say, oh, well, that's not enough, throw it off, pop it. Look, it's a computerized thing here with fuel injection. There's no carburetor on this. Everything is computer controlled. So we're talking about very precise tolerances inside that computer. So That's a problem. How do you fix that? Now, I'm gonna tell you something here that I'm not gonna guarantee to you. Okay, but I'll tell you some of the things. And I'm not recommending these by any means because everybody's got their own way of figuring this thing out. So what you can do in the short run, I know a guy that basically just carried a few washers around, and as this starts to wear out, you just throw another washer on there, and it cinches the air filter down a little more. It's only going to work for so long. You're just going to keep wearing that thing out. Now, here's the one thing well, let me get through this stuff, and then I'll recommend some. The other thing that I've seen is that guys will take this washer off, cut that little tab off of there, drill a hole in it, and then put a nut on the other side of it. Now, if you're going to do something like that, you better be damn sure that on the back side of that, I'm trying to hold those screws in, but be damn sure that on the back side of that damn thing, back in there, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of tough to see on the camera. There it is, that little circle right in there. Okay, well that's the back part of that tab, that circle down inside. All right, so if you put a nut in there, you better make damn sure. Oh, there, I dropped the screws anyways. You better make damn sure that nut's not going to come off. So what I have told guys, and let me see if I've got one here. When guys say, well, I'm just going to put some nut down in there. Okay, well, if I was going to do it, I would do something like that, and I would drill that hole down in there and then put this guy through here and then change your tab on the air filter so that this thing screws down to it, and then JB weld this thing in there, or heat it up and melt it in there with that plastic, or I mean, you don't want to do something really so it never comes out, because then you'd have to replace this guy, and anything on here is going to be expensive. You replace anything, it's going to be expensive. So you can do that. All right, now, those are really the only, if you got some other way that you figured out how to do that and how to hold that thing down a little bit better, feel free to leave it down in the comments. I would love to hear it, because these things are still relatively new. So, I mean, any ideas that we could pass around and figure out how to get past the weak spots on this thing would be fantastic. Okay. Now, this caused, you be prepared to hold your breath and be prepared to cry for this old boy. So that leakage right there caused this to go bad. Yep. So what happened was, he was out cutting some dry oak, and I haven't cleaned this thing because I wanted to show you all what was going on here. You see all this right here? This is like really fine stuff. See it coming off my fingers? Well, all those fines, this was like dead oak stuff that had a bunch of fines in it. When he first brought it in and I started taking the covers off and everything, I got splinters in it from all the fines. Anyway, the fines got past here, got in here. Now you can kind of see, I'll turn this around, I'll hold that up there. So this is just past the air filter cover, and I'll pull this thing off here. Now you can probably kind of see. Let me get my big fingers out of the way. Let's get this. There it is. Okay, we'll pull this loose. Now here's the back side of that. Look at all the fines back in there. That's all the stuff that got past that air filter. Okay, well, that's not all the stuff, because there's a lot more inside the engine, but yeah, all that was getting past the air filter. All right, so got down inside there, and of course, you know, played hell with everything. So what I'm going to do with you, okay, with this video, I'm going to warn you ahead of time, I'm going to be a little bit long, because I've showed you the weak spots on this thing, and I've showed you, you know, what my opinion of them is, but I kind of like to keep you here for a little bit and show you, because we're going to have to learn how to tear into these things. I don't think the 500i is going away anytime soon, you know. So I don't know of too many people who have taken a cylinder head off of here. And in fact, I ordered this thing from, I want to make sure I get it right here, because we ordered from a lot of people. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I ordered this from my friends up at Saw Again, and they, I mean, I'm not promoting them or anything like that. They don't pay me to promote anything, but we ordered quite a few parts from them. Those guys are really good. I mean, this one, this guy brought this in, and it's been a while before he could come up with the money to fix it, because it's an expensive fix. But these guys were the only ones that I could find, and I think I got the last one, but these were the only guys I could find that had one of these. There's no aftermarket option for 500i parts. They're too new. So you got to get all steel stuff, and boy, if you go to your steel dealer, you may as well just buy a saw, because, whew, yeah. So, when you, it's just like any other, I mean, this thing's going to be kind of long anyway, but it's just like any other, you know, I'm meant to get. It's got the bearing, you know, got the circlips in there. I don't know if this was original, but I got it in the box, in the steel box with the rings already on it. The piston itself seems a bit heavier than a normal steel piston. So, I don't know. But it just seems to me that it's a little heavier. But anyway, I'm going to tear into this thing right in front of you. And so I'm just going to keep you around here, and you can shut this damn thing off anytime you want to. But we're going to take this cylinder head off together. So, might take a bit. So what I'm going to do, so that I don't bore you and this don't run too long, I'll kind of show you what I'm going to do first, and then we'll pause, and you can come back. So here's what we're going to do. So when you get, I'm just going to turn this, well, here, let me just flip the, there we go. All right, figure out where we're at here, Papa. Okay, so you take your covers off, take the air filter cover off. You take that little butterfly off right there that fit right here, take that off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this plastic piece off. It's got some screws down in there, and then it's got the 4 holes on the cylinder head and this guy right here. So I'm going to take that off, and then I'll bring you right back when I get all that taken off.